Aloha. Welcome to Abe Lee Seminar Sessions. Today, we're going to talk about a very interesting phenomenon that occurs in land. Have you ever heard of someone squatting on a piece of land and claiming that that's his land? And that's what we call adverse possession. So it happens once in a great while, especially in the Wild Wild West, when land was plentiful on the mainland, and somebody will go onto someone else's land, build a house, and stay there for X number of years. And after the prescribed number of years to have claim adverse possession, he can go to court and say, hey, judge, I've been living on this property for X number of years. It's been mine for the continuous. No one else has had access to it. I want to claim title to the property. And if he follows the rules and the law, he can claim the land by what they call adverse possession. Now, in all the years I've been in real estate, I've never seen adverse possession work. So one day, I was on Kauai, and I asked the question, has anyone ever had adverse possession and seen it work? And this gentleman raises his hand and says, yeah, I have. So I asked him to say who he was. Now, I'm from Honolulu, right? And this is Kauai. So all the people on Kauai know this man because he's really famous. He's an attorney, and he also has a real estate license. And he's like 20 years older than me. So he says, let me tell you what really happens with lots of adverse possessions. He said, I had a client that bought some land from his neighbor, her neighbor, and built a house. And the family grew together. And they're friends. So Hurricane Iniki came through in 1990s and blew her house down. So she went to the city and said, hey, can I build my house back? And the clerk said at the county, you don't own this land. The other family owns it. And she said, no, I have a receipt. And I bought the land. And the clerk said, you didn't subdivide the land. You don't own it. According to our records, that other family owns it. So she hired this man who's speaking and who's an attorney, and they went to court and said, this lady has owned this land, used it for 20 years or more, because that's the rule in Hawaii. You have to have continuous use of that land over 20 years against the owner's wishes. Well, it wasn't against the owner's wishes in this case, but legally, it was hostile because it wasn't formally subdivided. So therefore, it was hostile by law definition. So they went through the 20 years of adverse possession rights, proved that she had the use of that land, continuous, no one else had it, and the judge granted the adverse possession. They subdivided the property, then she got her permit, and then she built her house. He said, this is typically what we see with adverse possession. And very few people actually go squat on someone's land and hope that the owner doesn't catch them for the next 20 years. But if they don't, and they don't come to visit, then that person could have the right to have adverse possession. Let's say I've done adverse possession for 12 years, and I'm going to move to the mainland. I can sell my land with the adverse possession rights still intact and have 12 years, and then there's 8 years left. And if that person continues that adverse possession rights for 8 more years, then he can go to court and claim ownership of the property. So that's called tacking on. Does that happen often? No. And I've been told by an attorney that Hawaii does not favor adverse possession. So you really have to prove that you had the legal right to claim ownership of that land. Otherwise, they will be hard-pressed to claim ownership of that land. So that's adverse possession. And we don't see too many of it, but it is available by law to claim ownership rights if you stay on that land for 20 years or longer. Aloha.